Hey, this is Pastor Michael, and I just want to thank you for watching this rebroadcast of Sunday's message. I'm so glad that you're wanting to grow in your relationship with Jesus, and listening to His Word is a great way to do just that. Now, if you have any comments or questions about the message, or maybe you just have a prayer request, put it in the comments below, and we'll be sure to get back with you. Now, enjoy the message. Well, I can say that I know the journey of school, not just before undergraduate school, as we all know that journey, or most of us would anyway. But being a father and a husband, I went back to school after having 5 kids to get my bachelor's degree. And so I understand the struggle and the nights and the studying, that each of you have gone through to make it to where you are today. And I know that there probably have been parts of your journey where you thought, is this ever going to end? Am I going to get to the end of this journey? But I just want to share with you some things today that would let us know, and us as well, that life is a journey. Though you have reached this great accomplishment in your life, it is but a stepping stone. As great an accomplishment as it is but a stepping stone. And so I just want to talk to you and you all from the thought this morning that the assignment is greater than the degree. The assignment is greater than the degree. Well, today, yes, it is a celebration. It's a time for celebration. Caps have been tossed, degrees earned, and futures imagined. You've survived. You've survived finals. You've survived group projects, sleepless nights, cafeteria food, some of you. And you made it. And for that, we do applaud you. But I want to tell you something the diploma doesn't tell you. Something the graduation speech may never tell you and may have skipped over. Something culture won't always tell you. And that is that your degree is a tool. It's not your purpose. Your title is a platform, not your identity. Your career is a vehicle, not the destination. But there's something greater than your degree, and that, my friends, is your divine assignment. See, you didn't just graduate into a job market. You stepped into a kingdom moment. Come on. The same way Esther was placed in the palace, not just for position, but for purpose. God has positioned you for something more than success. Significance. Significance. Significance simply means this. It is the quality of being worthy of attention and importance. And I want to tell you this morning that each of you, Ryan, Renee, Deetra, Malumbo, and Avani, you are worthy of attention and importance. You are valuable. And I want to tell you this, it's not your degree that makes you valuable. In fact, I would say it's the other way around, that you make the degree that you hold valuable. It's because of you that your degree is valuable. A few years ago, I sat down with a young man who had just finished his degree in engineering at a top university. I won't say who he is or where he went, but he walked into my office with his framed diploma in one hand, and he had anxiety in the other. Come on. And he said, Pastor, I thought that this degree would settle me. I thought it would settle me. But now that I've got it, I'm more unsure than ever. Seems like I did everything right. I followed the path. I turned in all my assignments. I learned. I did all of these things right. But now I'm asking, is this really it? And I asked him a question that day that I want to ask you, and I want to ask all of you as well today. Do you want a career or do you want a calling? Do you want a career or do you want a calling? Because there's a difference. One fills your calendar, the other fills your soul. One impresses people, it's true, but the other impacts people. One ends when you retire, the other echoes into eternity. Well, that young man went on to take a job that didn't make the most money, but it gave him the most purpose. He mentors youth now and builds bridges, both literally and spiritually. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Because you didn't just earn a degree, you've been positioned for an assignment. Only one that you can fulfill. Nobody else can fulfill your assignment. One that was written before you were ever in the classroom. And so today I want to challenge you to see beyond the tassel and the title, to recognize that you have been called for such a time as this. Graduation is not just a milestone. It's a launching pad. The degree opens the doors, but God's assignment gives those doors meaning. And so I want to just share a few things with you today about the assignment is greater than the degree. First of all, we all have to understand that no matter what you accomplish in life, whether you get that promotion at work, whether you get married and have a life change, or whether you earn a degree, you have to understand that degrees qualify you, but God sends you. He sends you. Jeremiah 1:5, many of us would know this verse, but in the expanded Bible, it puts it this way. God is speaking to Jeremiah, and I believe He is speaking to each of you today, telling you this. Before I made or formed you in your mother's womb, I chose or I knew you. Before you were born, before you came out of the womb into the world, I already set you apart for a special work to consecrate you. I set you aside. See, you didn't become special. You were already special. You were special when you came. You were valuable when you came. Come on. Your degree is certainly evidence of hard work, but your divine assignment, Ryan, your divine assignment was given before your first exam. You already had that. Think of Moses in the Bible. He didn't have a degree from Egypt's leadership academy. Come on. Yet God assigned him to lead a nation. He was a stutterer. He couldn't even talk straight, but he was placed in that position. I think about how God places us in certain positions. If I could just give you a short testimony from my own life. I remember before I even got my degree, before I went back to school to get my degree, I was working for a corporation, a big corporation, a multi-billion-dollar corporation here in Indiana. And the whole time I worked there, I didn't feel worthy. I kept thinking, how in the world did I even get this job? It seems like everybody around me knows more than I do. They're more technical than me. They seem to be able to talk to people and customers better than I can. They get around the computer better than me. All I thought about was how much better others were than me. And then one day, my boss came to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a manager?" And I said, "No, I never thought about being a manager. I just thought about trying to get to work every day and get my paycheck every 2 weeks. That's what I've been thinking about, you know." And he said, "No, I think you'd make a good manager." He said, "We're losing some managers and we need some managers. And I've been watching you and I think you'd make a good manager." And I thought, I think you was watching the wrong person. I'm not sure who you were watching. So I got with him and he actually interviewed with me. He did some mock interviews with me to make sure that I got the job, even though I was interviewing with him. And interviewed with him, and lo and behold, I got the job. And so now I'm managing people that I was just working with. And so there's 28 to 32 people that I'm managing, and I didn't feel qualified to do the job in the first place. And during my management time was when I thought I better go back to school. I have a desire to go back to school. So it wasn't until after I got my management job that I went back to school. Well, the day came that the group that I was over, they decided to close the section here in Indianapolis and move everybody to Detroit. Well, and it's no knock on Detroit if you ever decide to move there, if that's where you want to go. No knock on Detroit. But I didn't want to move to Detroit. I said, I'm not moving to Detroit, okay? I just, Plus, I'm initially from Ohio. I live here in Indiana. We don't like Michigan, okay? I'm just saying it, okay? If you're from Michigan, my apologies. But anyway, so I said, I'm not moving to Detroit, so I don't know what I'm going to do. They said, we're moving all the jobs there. You got 90 days to find another job within the company, or you're going to be off the payroll. So I thought, I wasn't qualified to do the job I was doing at first. I certainly wasn't qualified to be a manager, and now they're telling me I have to find another job in the company or I'm off the payroll. Well, I worried about this for a couple days, and then one day I got a call from a lady, a manager over in the engineering department. And why is a lady in engineering calling me? I wasn't qualified to do the technical job, much less be a manager. I certainly am nowhere near an engineering degree. She called and said, hey, we need some engineers, and I heard your department is going away. We'd like to have you over here. I'd like you to come interview. I said, oh, Lord, I don't know what's going to happen here. So I said, I don't even know how to prepare. I don't even know how to prepare to interview for an engineering job. How do I even do that? So I didn't because I didn't know how to. So I just went over and I said, I'll just talk to her. This lady, she said, yep, my name's Margaret, and we're looking for people. And I'm thinking, okay, what questions is she going to ask me? How do you draw a triangle on a blueprint, or how, and she didn't ask me any of those questions. She just began to tell me about the department and what they did there and what they needed me to do. Then we got up and left her office. She started introducing me to people, and she told me where my cubicle would be, and she said, you're going to start in 2 weeks. I said, Lord, have mercy. How in the world am I starting in engineering? Now you would think I would be okay. But now I'm worried I'm going to get in the engineering department and they're going to laugh saying, why is this guy in the engineering department? But that didn't happen either. As soon as I got over there, I met a man named Larry. You remember Larry. Larry took me under his wings. He began to show me everything you needed to know about engineering. And by the time I left, I humbly say that I was one of, if not the best engineer that AT&T had in all of Indiana as I left the engineering department. My point to this whole thing is that God has already placed you. Now, you control, of course, success is in your hands. There are steps that you need to take. But God has doors that will be open for you already. And it's a matter of you walking through them. Don't ever feel that you're not valuable. Don't ever feel that you're underqualified. Don't ever feel because of what someone else says or what you have been through that you can't do it. Listen, my personal motto, and I wouldn't put this on you, but my personal motto is, if somebody else can do it, I can do it. Somebody else can do it. Most things I can do too. So at least I'm going to try. And so your degree qualifies you, but God sends you. We're already qualified before you got the degree. Second thing is, your assignment is about people, not prestige. We must understand that. Your assignment in life is about people, not prestige. I would dare to say, Ryan, that if you go on to get a job in HVAC and say you're working in someone's house, well, in your mind, maybe you're working to get that system working correctly, so then I can sign off on it, do my job, and then I'll get my paycheck in 2 weeks. But what you also have to realize is you just helped the family to be warm in the wintertime. You just helped a family to cool off in the summertime. You just helped a family to function. And so really it was a ministry as much as it was a job. When you're on that stage, Renee, you may be thinking, I got to get into this role and I really got to perform so that it will be a great thing and people won't talk bad about me, But what you also have to realize is somebody was going through something that week. Somebody had a bill that they couldn't pay. Someone got some bad news. And when they came to that performance, their whole outlook changed. At least for a while, they were able to experience joy. They were able to experience emotion, and you uplifted them and maybe even gave them some encouragement to continue to move on. We have to understand that your assignment is not about prestige, but it's really about people. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Malumbo, you're keeping people safe if that's what you do. You may do, I don't know what you might do, Malumbo. Yeah, her degree is in cybersecurity, but Malumbo knows so much stuff. I don't know if she's going to be preaching, if she's going to work for NASA.
I'm not sure what Balumbo might end up doing. She knows so much stuff. But whatever it is, we know that you're going to be helping people. And also, I'm especially going to be nice to Ivani. As I get, into my older age, I plan on eating good and everything. But, she knows a lot about the heart, atherosclerosis, And so I'm going to be nice to her so that, I can always call and say, Vonnie. And she probably going to say, eat some broccoli. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. So I'm not even going to talk about you, you know your assignment is about people. You help people even when you don't want to help people. People just come to you. Amen. Perhaps you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. This is what Esther's cousin told her when she became queen, and she did not feel qualified. I understand, as I explained in my testimony, I understand what Esther went through, how she didn't feel qualified, but she became queen over a nation. And her cousin told her, perhaps you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. You didn't know that this was the moment, but there will be a moment in each of your lives where you will realize, this is what I've been doing it all for. This is what all the sleepless nights were for, and all the studying and writing the paper and losing my Word document and having to figure out how to get it back. Come on, I say that from experience. Your degree may elevate your status, but your assignment will elevate lives. See, a young man becomes a doctor to honor his family, but he discovers his true assignment is mentoring undeserved youth. You never know where God will place you, right? Who am I called to serve, and what have I been given to do that with? That has to be your question as you go through life. Thirdly, obedience to the assignment requires courage. Now that you've gotten your degree, you're called to be courageous. Joshua 1:9 says this, remember that I have commanded you to be determined and confident, the Good News Translation says. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for I, the Lord your God, am with you wherever you go. See, assignments often require risk, discomfort, come on, and sometimes even standing alone. Degrees offer options, but assignments demand obedience. You must be obedient to the assignment. Esther risked her life. Graduates may be called to take a less lucrative job to make a greater impact. Well, I'm not telling you that that's what's going to happen, but you have to elevate the assignment above everything else. And I guarantee you all of it will fall into place. I'm reminded of Matthew 6:33, but seek first God and his kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you. I would never presume to add to or take the Bible out of context. But I believe that if you are obedient to your assignment, everything else will fall in place. You'll make the money that you're supposed to make. You'll make more than what you're supposed to make. I guarantee you, if you're obedient, if you don't chase the money, but you make the assignment your main thing, you will get what you're supposed to get. So pray for the courage to say yes to God's prompting, even when it disrupts your plans, because you may not go the road that you thought you would go. And then lastly, your assignment will outlive you, no doubt. John 15:16, Jesus said this, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit. Fruit that will last. And so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. See, a degree may expire or go unused, but a God-given assignment bears eternal impact. Eternal impact. A teacher who sows seeds of faith in a classroom may impact generations beyond her own. You don't know who you're impacting and how far down the line, should the Lord tarry, that you will impact people. Don't live for a resume. Live for a legacy. Live for a legacy. And so the question is, what do we do with the degree? Well, we honor the effort, we celebrate the accomplishment, but we don't stop there, right? You've reached a pinnacle, But the pinnacle you reached is simply a catalyst to greater things, right? This is not the top of the mountain, because now that you've reached the top of the mountain, there's more mountain being built. Come on, somebody. There's more mountain being built, and there's further to go. Because the world doesn't just need more professionals. It needs more people on assignment, like the 5 of you. People who know that the most important calling on their life isn't tied to a paycheck, a platform, or a promotion. It's tied to obedience. It's tied to courage. It's tied to purpose. Your assignment may take you into classrooms or boardrooms or hospitals or studios, but it will always, always, always be about people. It will stretch you and grow you, yes. Sometimes inconvenience you, but it will bear fruit that lasts. Don't just chase what you can do. Follow who God has called you to become. You are becoming. You are unfolding. You are always going to be greater than you are now, because the assignment is always greater than the degree. You are not just a graduate. You are a vessel. Poured out, prepared, now poured out. You're not just a resume, you are a revelation of what God can do through a willing heart with a surrendered yes. Your tassel turned, your chapter closed, but your story just getting started. The ink of your degree is still drying, but heaven's been writing your assignment since before you had a name. So go. Not just where the job leads, but where the Spirit prompts. Not just where the pay is highest, but where the need is the greatest. Don't live to impress, live to impact. Don't just show up, stand up. Because the kingdom doesn't need more professionals. It needs more purpose-filled people on a mission, on fire, on assignment. And if you ever forget what this moment meant, look at the degree, but then look up and say, God, use me for something greater. Celebrate your degree, but commit to your divine assignment. Don't just ask, what can I do with this degree? Ask, God, what do you want to do through me? And so I have these final questions for you to ponder. Ask these reflection questions. God, what doors do you have opened that I haven't recognized? Show me, reveal those to me. Where are you calling me to serve beyond my comfort zone? Many people don't ask to go beyond their comfort zone. But I'm asking you today to ask God that very question. Where can I go beyond my comfort zone? And then ask yourself, am I willing to lay down my plans for your purpose? Because the love of God is upon you, His purpose is in you, and your desire is the engine that will move you forward. Amen? Amen.